If there ever would be a flagship for flawed gems that create love-hate relationships, then Warlock, Master of the Arcane, would carry this banner with pride. Like many Paradox Interactive titles, this 4X strategy game, based on the foundations of Explore, Expand, Exploit and Exterminate, has a ton of holes in need of fixing. Yet, again like most of the publisher's games, it surprises many with a fresh new take on its genre. Warlock trims away all the fluff of Empire micromanagement and pairs it off with a focus on armies and war, which doubles up the pace to new heights. Gone are the days of carefully structuring cities just right and following schemes in order to work towards that far off goal of eventually getting giant robots. Warlock wants you to go to war right this very instant, and to get to where you want to go immediately. After customizing your game world and your leader to suit your needs, it's off to the world of exploration and world conquest. Cities and units need only minimal upkeep, which can easily be managed in as little as 2 interface options. Buildings only require sufficient population, and units can simultaneously be produced with only an amount of gold required. This pushes the game forward, and before you know it, you'll have an entire army plowing through the fields of Ardania. On the way, you'll encounter enemy mages in 3 different races, but also a separate neutral faction and monster army that actually offers a significant contribution to the game. No casually shooting some wolves on your way to world domination. Monsters come in all shapes and sizes and can really slow you down if you don't beware. This makes exploration much more of a thrill, as there is a constant sense of danger behind every patch of fog. It's even possible to travel to entirely new realms to fight these monsters, but the challenge here is even exponentially greater. Only the very toughest of armies can survive the flood of scum that walks these lands. Luckily, Warlock does its name justice by offering its great mages spells to cast down from the heavens. Instead of researching technology, all points are attributed to learning new and more powerful spells that range from just casting fireballs to summoning powerful monsters to do your bidding. More potent spells require more turns to cast, and in all, there is a wide variety of possibilities that can even be enhanced by getting into favor with one of the game's deities, by performing some of the random quests that periodically pop up. This Horn of Plenty doesn't even put a lot of strain on the system. By providing a more streamlined focus, Warlock keeps loading times to an absolute minimum while still displaying a capable presentation with lush environments, charming unit models and a slew of added magical effects. It's a rare and most welcome change from other demanding titles to see a game think of the little guy while still maintaining the best of both worlds. But that's nothing compared to the endearing audio present in all units that shout their way into the player's heart with every one-liner. Aside from being a unique bunch of critters, this ragtag bunch of misfits also comes with equally expert voice casting that will put a smile on anyone's face. The only exception to that is the game's hacky Sean Connery narrator.
A new spell has been researched, my lord.
Still, for the slew of great refreshing ideas Warlock brings, there is an equal amount of issues created by its priority to favor quick-paced gameplay uber alles. Yes, it trims away all of the fluff seen in large-scale strategy games, but it forgets that some of these are necessary for clarity. The biggest issue here is that instead of resorting to tedious and convoluted submenus with millions of modifiers, it switches sides and offers almost no menus or references whatsoever. With only limited explanation of any kind, it's hard for players to get a grasp on just how to get from one point to the next, and that is directly opposed to what strategy games normally bring, namely strategies. Building requisites have vague prompts, spells aren't explained, and there are no trees or documents detailing any of the game's workings. No unit list is present to find that one powerful fighter, no city list details production. Warlock leaves players completely in the dark and only upholds itself by its easy to pick up gameplay that organically explains its basic elements. Advanced tactics, however, are a trial and error ordeal and will more than likely have you head off into forums filled with the same questions that you are having. It's inexplicable why any game of this grand scale wouldn't include some sort of glossary.
Vampires. They.
1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22 23 24 25 26 27 28 29 30 31 32 33 34 35 36 37 38 39 40 41 42 43 44 45 46 47 48 49 50 51 52 53 54 55 56 57 58 59 60 61 62 63 64 65 66 67 68 69 70 71 72 73 74 75 76 77 78 79 80 81 82 83 84 85 86 87 88 89 90 91 92 93 94 95 96 97 98 99 100 101 102 103 104 105 106 107 108 109 110 111 112 113 114 115 116 117 118 119 120 121 122 123 124 125 126 127 128 129 130 131 132 133 134 135 136 137 138 139 140 141 142 143 144 145 146 147 148 149 150 151 152 153 154 155 156 157 158
A second grievance is the lack of balance or rather consistency in that department. Sometimes the game will throw a huge challenge your way and hand out copious amounts of gratification, but other times it will fumble all over the place. Enemies magically spawn entire armies out of nothing, fail to follow through in pinching situations, while other times the avalanche of monsters will simply keep you pinned down as you struggle to make sense of it all. This becomes most apparent when making use of the game's excellent idea of unit level advancement paired with additional perks. As units only require gold to produce but wildly vary in their cost, it's important to keep those high cost units alive. Through numerous victories, these units can gain additional strength, patch their weaknesses and even purchase new armors or boons that increase their potency even more. But once a few good men have climbed through the ranks, they become unstoppable demigods that pierce through anything, especially when additionally enhanced with great mage spells. This puts a damper on that gratification element as entire empires can fall in a few turns, certainly given there is little negative consequence to build cities everywhere and churn out units by the dozen. This leads to another smaller flaw when it comes to army management, as there is no unified way to manage armies. Spawning hundreds of units means that you'll have to give them orders each and every turn, with only a limited amount of options to alleviate this. Warlock has a ton of issues to take care of. Diplomacy is very limited and great mages either seem to fear you or declare war in a pinch. Trade and all other factors aren't available and negotiations are often fruitless. Through all these issues, its greatest strength of a streamlined arcade feel slowly show the ugly side of a superficial approach. Still, Warlock Master of the Arcane still comes out as a decent game due to its novel approach, set of great ideas and fast pace that grips players and leads them forward beyond all else. A wide variety of references can be seen in the game with such classics as Civilization or the fantastical Master of Magic. Warlock takes the best elements from many of its peers and compresses that into the most linear progression it can, for better or worse. Newcomers as well as veterans will find something they can enjoy in its many rousing elements, given you're willing to overlook a set of lesser qualities.
The Great Mage has achieved a great victory. After the last syllable of the Unity spell was spoken, there came a great silence, and in that silence, illumined with power, the Great Mage ascended to the sky and became the one who stands above all magic, and even the gods themselves.